Hello everyone, this is Jay from the Math Gymnasium, and in this video tutorial I want to introduce you to exponents and also the product rule. Okay, when we work with exponents, let's look at the example here on the screen. When we multiply a number, for example, if we multiply 2, we could multiply it together 6 times, and we could write it out as it shows, like 2 times 2 times 2, on, and then we could evaluate it. Now, with an exponent, it allows us to write it in a more concise manner. Since the 2 shows 6 times and is being multiplied by itself 6 times, we can say that the base is 2 and the exponent would be 6. And when doing that, we would write the exponential expression 2 to the 6th power, or simply 2 to the 6th. So 2 to the 6th power equals 2 times 2 times 2 times 2 times 2 times 2. It's just another way of writing something in a quicker manner. 2 is the base and 6 is the power. And we have 6 factors of 2 in the expression. And when we evaluate it, we get 64. Okay, let's look at a couple more examples. Suppose I gave you a problem and I asked you name the base and the exponent. Now remember, the base is always the number that we're raising the power to, or raising with an exponent. It is not the exponent itself. So in this example, the base would be 2. What would be the exponent? It would be 4. And when we evaluate it, and we could use a calculator or just multiply it in our mind, and 2 times 2 times 2 times 2 would be 16, which is 2 to the 4th power. Let's look at another example. Now this one, notice it's very similar to the first one, and the base is still 2, and the exponent is still 4. However, when we evaluate this expression, we get a very different answer, and the negative sign in front makes a difference. If we factor out a -1, we still have 2 being multiplied together 4 times, as we did in the above example. But instead of getting 16, we now get an answer of -16, and that's because of the negative in the problem. Now let's compare that to this example, which is the same as before. I hope you see similarities in all three. The difference here is the -2 is now in parentheses. So what that means is we are raising -2 to the 4th power, rather than having a negative and then raising 2 to the 4th. So these parentheses make a difference when we go to evaluate the expression. What we get is -2, and we multiply it together 4 times. And remembering our rules with signs, when we multiply a negative number together with another negative number, or if we multiply an even number of negatives together, we always get a positive. So our answer for this would be positive 16. So, caution from the examples before. Notice that when we have any given base, in this slide we're using A to represent the base, and we raise it to n power, we have to be careful and recognize that without parentheses, we're only raising the number to the power, and the negative sign stays in front. So we would, in the first part example, it's showing with -5, raised to the 2nd power, we would leave the negative in front and we multiply 5 together 2 times and we get an answer of -25. However, suppose we have an expression -a in parentheses raised to the nth power. In this example, it would be -5 raised to the 2nd power. we're actually raising the negative 5 rather than the 5. So raising negative 5 to the second power, we multiply negative 5 times negative 5, and we get 25 for our answer.